And welcome. Welcome to the No Name Yet podcast. That is the podcast with no name. And on tonight's show, once again, is the other guy on the show who is color coordinated in his corner, Mo.
Hello, color coordinated. Wow, that's a great introduction. Hello, guys. How are you? It's great to be back. I'm excited. Let's get this show started. What we have in the Wild America
Well,
West
I first would like to say
East.
that you are looking very smart today.
Oh,
That your skin color and your shirt against the color of the wall and the mirror in the corner, it looks really nice.
thank you. It was just a random thing. I didn't like.
Okay.
I couldn't be in front of the window. It looked so ugly, but I'm glad this fits.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm glad this fits. My beautiful brown is matching very well against the shelf over
And
here.
I can even see my
Thank you.
face in the mirror.
You can see it?
I can see my
Yeah.
face reflecting from
Okay.
apparently your screen. That my face is in the mirror. And for those that can see, if you're looking at the mirror, my face is in the upper right hand corner of the mirror as it appears on the
Look at
screen.
you.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look and double check yourself. You don't need no
Yeah.
help.
So before we get going, I'd like to point out what I'm drinking today.
Here we
Uh,
go.
I've taken a break from seltzer water.
Good
And
Lord.
today I am drinking Polar Premium Half and Half, which
Mhm.
is a mixture of grapefruit and lemon soda. So this is actual soda with sugar in it, half
Oh,
grapefruit, half lemon, and it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it is good.
mm.
I am looking forward to the grapefruit soda that I did purchase also.
Ladies and gentlemen, he does this every week, and every time I just look down to see what time it is, because you don't know how long this sponsorship will go on. Please, somebody pay this man before he drives me crazy. Because if there's money involved, then I'll shut the hell up.
And before we jump into what we're going to talk about tonight, I would like to give a brief review of Star Trek Picard. Um, I cleared my schedule last night because somebody on Twitter said that the finale was 2 hours long and it was an hour long.
Mm.
And but I think that Paramount Plus has done an excellent job with the third and final season of Star Trek Picard. I was really excited for the finale, and I will say that it was good. It
You liked it.
was good, but it was not excellent. I was a little disappointed.
And which part did you get disappointed in, Pastor?
Well, they just came in and they just saved the day. I mean, that's all they did. They came
I
in,
mean,
they
that's
saved the
usually how every
day.
season. Did it have a cliffhanger for next season?
Well, they did. Well, there's not going to be another season of Picard, but there might be another season of something else. They
Oh,
did.
oh,
They did leave an excellent cliffhanger. I got to give them that. It was an excellent cliffhanger. But I was just hoping for a bit more resistance to them actually succeeding before they did succeed. And I don't know, these past few episodes, they've just given you nuggets that you just didn't expect were coming. And I was just hoping, like, when they came face to face with the enemy, that something like that would have, made you go, wow. Um, but it didn't. They just defeated the enemy, and then everybody lived happily ever after.
Oh my God. But they got everybody, got a large cast back. Everybody got a nice paycheck. The fans go, oh my God, so and so is
Yeah,
back. And then,
yeah.
oh, thank you.
So I
I'm
mean, it
glad
was
you
good.
enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I need to watch it again. I want to see if I missed something. Um,
What's interesting? We're gonna stay on it, and I really want to see this movie now. The new Mario movie is like seventh place, I believe. For and it just beat so many records. I hear it's beating Frozen and a bunch of Disney movies, and it's up there in the top 10 with Star Wars right now.
oh, really?
Um, yeah, so it's doing really well,
Well, there was
and it
some
just
kind
I
of there was some kind of headline I scrolled past about it being woke or something. And then
so a lot of people in Hollywood are actually complaining. So the fan base is really satisfied with it because
okay,
when you there is any fan, they're saying, listen, there was nothing woke about it. It was just a really fun movie. Just classic fun movie. It looked like somebody was just trying to tell a story, act in it, play out the characters, and create this beautiful world and bring it to the screen. There was no wokeness, and a lot of Hollywood people got on it, and they were like talking shit about it, and people and like the basically the people that like. I think Rotten Tomatoes they rated it lower than the actual fan. The fans like loved it. Rotten Tomatoes, all the critics were like, "Oh, we don't like this movie," but all the fans love the movie. So and
well,
that's really
Rotten
what
Tomatoes is
matters.
just you know
Hmm.
controlled by the industry.
Yeah, definitely. And it just didn't have the same messages a lot of woke movies have, and it stuck to just creating a new storyline. And I
Well,
was like
every
really happy,
movie's
so I'm
got to
excited to
have
see
a
it.
message, I guess.
Every movie should have a message in its own way, but you don't need to like dilute it with like um these bunch of political movements and ideology. I don't care for that. If I want to see like for example the new Barbie movie that they're saying to release, I'm excited. It looks really freaking good. Artistically, it looks like a Barbie world of like the Charlie in a Chocolate Factory type of artistic style of it, and it
Uh-huh.
looks like a very comedic standpoint from it,
Okay.
and just like playing on the dumbness of what we think of Barbie and Ken, and I think they're gonna just do a fantastic job. Everybody's been loving the trailer on both sides, and I think it's just gonna be something like taking an IP and really just having fun with it. And I'm like,
Well, we didn't plan
I
this,
showed.
but why don't we watch the trailer? Because I haven't
Let's watch the
seen
trailer.
it.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
With the radio blast and goes cruising just as fast as she can now.
I thought I might stay over tonight
Why?
because we're girlfriend boyfriend.
To do what?
I'm actually not sure.
And she'll have fun, 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 fun. And she'll have fun, 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 fun. And she'll have fun, 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 fun.
Okay, ladies, let's do this.
She'll have, and she'll have fun, fun.
What are you doing here?
I'm coming with you.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them. Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken. If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken. I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time. Beach both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
I'm excited for that, and I didn't see that trailer, so I'm just that just took it to another level for me. I think they know what they're doing. They know how to play with words. They know how to make this the non-endos endos. You know what I'm saying? It just looks like a good
Innuendos.
laugh. Yeah,
Mhm.
like
Um,
it just looks like a great laugh,
I hope
and
it's
I'm
good
I'm
because
excited to. Mhm.
it did it the trailer did make me laugh, and I
Yeah,
hope it's good
yeah. I really do hope it's good. I'm excited to
because I
me
can
and my
see it
girl.
going south real fast.
Hopefully, there's nothing like I can't say woke because everybody else is using my people's word incorrectly, but I hope it's
Uh-huh.
not culturally appropriating and doing all this extra crap, and just stay to the story. It seems like Ken and Barbie are just having fun. The beach thing, I'll beat you off. I beat you off, and it just say it fast enough. You say,
Uh-huh.
it's too good. It's too good.
Oh, I
I
it looks
think
like
they take it in a clever way.
it looks like they cast the movie well.
That's another part. I think the casting is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
they're
yeah, it is something to
fully
look
using their
forward to.
IP correctly. I think they're using it correctly, keeping
Hmm.
it to make it's hard to make something adulty and childish at the same time. And yeah, I can't wait to I can't wait for
Well,
the
you know who was
inappropriate giggles.
the pros at that was
Cool.
people who made Bugs Bunny cartoons,
Oh,
the Looney Tunes.
hands down. Looney
There was
Tunes,
so
Tom
much
and Jerry,
innuendo in
yeah,
there, and even
yeah,
in
yeah.
I don't know about now, but Sesame Street from
Tom
my
and
day,
Oh yeah, I've seen some clips, old school clips about it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that like my father and other police officers that they when they would get off, he worked a midnight shift,
Yeah.
and sometimes they would go to somebody's house or even a bar, have a drink, and watch Sesame Street.
I can see it. I can see it. To see what weird corniness is gonna pop up, you know.
Yeah. So, well, that was a good way to start the episode
I
because
love it.
what I got prepared is kind of negative.
Let's get to it, guys.
But uh, well, what inspired this week is the journalist Matt Taibbi that has been reporting on the Twitter files was
Mhm.
threatened with perjury from um, the U.S. Virgin Islands delegate
Hmm.
who was on the committee that interviewed him when he testified before Congress over some errors in his reporting that journalists make. And I think it's important that we talk about this. I think it's important that people know that the people in government are really doing some nefarious things, and that
Oh,
our
that's
rights to free speech, that the freedom of the press, or freedom of assembly, is really in peril at this time. And
hmm.
I think that more and more of us need to get more vocal about it. And I just keep encouraging people that if you do watch mainstream media, especially CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, that you have other sources that you can go to that don't necessarily say the same things, and you can make up your own mind. Uh, but this is really, really getting bad.
Yes.
Um, where they threatened to imprison a journalist because he's reporting
Yes.
on things that the government doesn't like, that the government's
Hmm.
implicated in. I mean, I remember when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s and big stories broke. I mean, the Watergate story was a huge story,
Yeah.
resulted in the resignation of the president. We
Hmm.
need journalism. We need journalism to keep our government in account
Yeah.
and accountable.
And it's wild to think that most like I'm a big fan redacted, as you know.
Yeah.
If so And to believe, and I just realized a few weeks ago that they're not even in the country. And Americans that's not in the country, and it's sad, right? Because I can probably imagine what this this marriage couple, this relationship, because they're married, why they would have to do that, and one of the reasons why, as journalists and passionate about journalism, would say, you know what, we want to be able to, continue our passion, but we can't be here. We can't be here. And that's an American. We should, our journalists should have absolute protection against this type of abuse. And now they're saying, oh, you plagiarize. What did he plagiarize exactly?
Who?
Tahiti.
Oh, um, well, no, I actually, now that you mentioned that, Mo, I'm looking. This is The Hill,
Mm-hmm.
posted 2 days ago. It says MSNBC's Mehdi Hassan plagiarized
Okay.
pro spanking. So Mehdi Hassan is somebody we're going to talk about also. He's a journalist that did this takedown story
Mm-hmm.
or takedown interview of Matt Taibbi,
Yeah.
which it was really laughable because he's questioning him with all these gotcha questions like, you made a mistake here, and these are mistakes that journalists make,
Yeah.
especially when you're
Yeah.
dealing with the volume of material, and you're dealing with all these
Of
acronyms of all
course.
these organizations. I mean,
Of
I'm glad
course.
I'm
It's
a
probably
chaplain in a
tiring. I mean,
hospital. I mean, I can't keep track of all the acronyms of what every single one of these abbreviations mean
mm-hmm.
in medical speak. I got to look them up all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
And often, many of these journalists don't have assistants, right? It's not like it's not a high paying field, It's not like a lot of these guys have assistants and stuff like that. They're spending weeks researching, digging, writing down notes, and then have to come back and build it up, and it has to be somewhat at a deadline. And it's weird. It sounds like Hassan is really critiquing somebody's essay instead of their actual message, and that's a little weird to me.
Yeah, that might be a good way of putting it. So let me just introduce this. I wrote a little bit. I'm going to try to write a little bit of my introductions. Um, who knows what the No Name Yet podcast is going to end up being, but I'm dedicated to improving the show, and so I did write some introductions and transitions. So last week, Mehdi Hassan, a streaming journalist on Peacock MSNBC, conducted a hit interview with the award-winning journalist Matt Taibbi, who has been covering the Twitter files. In an interview, he attempted to discredit Taibbi by pointing out mistakes that Matt Taibbi made in one of his articles, mistakes that journalists make out of a matter of practice because they are human, and issue corrections as a best practice because errors do happen. Where
Mm-hmm.
Mehdi Hassan is holding Matt Taibbi to a journalist perfection attainable by no one, that Mehdi Hassan's work can stand next to Matt Taibbi's. And to question the integrity of Matt Taibbi based on his work over the years not only is unbelievable, but laughable given who Mehdi Hassan is. He's a grandstander and a professional interrupter, likened to the interview style that was most associated with Fox News for many years. And
Mm.
I have some clips that I'd like to play. The first is from the Gray Zone, where
Okay.
Max Blumenthal and Aaron Matei are discussing the Hassan interview.
So, for those who've been following, we've interviewed Matt Taibbi before. We've interviewed Matt Taibbi about this. He got access to the Twitter files, which is a huge cache of internal communications at Twitter, which showed that there was a huge pressure campaign on Twitter by U.S. intelligence and U.S. intelligence front groups to censor dissenting voices, to minimize the spread of countervailing information, anything that undermined the national security state, and that Twitter was involved in this along with other social media giants instead of bowing to these pressure campaigns. So such as, for example, validating the requests of powerful people inside the U.S. government to basically censor anything that could be tied to Russia or said to be tied to Russia, and to validate Russiagate propaganda. So to limit the spread of anything that criticized Russiagate. These are among the revelations of the Twitter files. So Matt Taibbi's been, I think, doing a public service in reporting this. And among the media outlets that this embarrassed is MSNBC, because MSNBC relied on scams like Hamilton 68, which is something that, Max, you exposed a long time ago at the Gray Zone, this fake dashboard of so-called Russian accounts. And this is trotted out whenever the National Security State wants to discredit a line of thinking. What it will say is, oh, this is being promoted by these Russian accounts. And look, here's this dashboard, Hamilton 68, to validate that.
So that's some background on the Twitter files. And what I'd like to do is to play a piece of the interview between Hassan and Taibbi.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mehdi is claiming that he caught Matt in what he calls, quote, multiple unacknowledged and glaring mistakes. You watch the actual interview, and the things that Mehdi confronts Matt on are ridiculously trivial, such as catching Matt getting literally an acronym wrong. Okay, so let's watch that clip.
You talk a lot about the Election Integrity Project in the Twitter files, which Stanford and the University of Washington founded to monitor attacks on our elections.
Both backed by U.S. intelligence.
And you say some stuff about them that a lot of your critics say is not true, and that affects your credibility. You said the EIP was founded in response to the government dropping its proposal for a disinformation governance. Well, there you are. We're quoting you on screen. It wasn't. It was formed 2 years earlier. You suggest it was government funded, even though during the 2020 election that you're covering, it wasn't. You say they labeled 22 million tweets as misinformation in the run-up to the 2020 vote. They didn't. They flagged 3,000 election misinformation tweets for labeling, so you were only 21,997,000 off. And you also claim the EIP was, let me finish the question, you can come back in. You also claim the EIP was partnered with the government Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, to censor Twitter, but you mix up CISA, CISA, a Homeland Security Agency, with the Center for Internet Security, the CIS, which is a non-profit. In fact, you added an A to CIS.
Which is a non-profit backed by state entities.
I think people can see it there in brackets to make that false claim. It's just error after error, Matt, on just this one topic.
Error. But the other ones aren't.
No,
22 million number came from their own report.
Yeah, where did it came from? A report in March. Do you know what the 22 million number is, Matt? Can you tell me? Because we checked. 22 million is the number of tweets about election misinformation that they just mapped. How many tweets were they? The ones they actually flagged to Twitter before.
Wait, isn't that flagging?
Yeah, that is flagging. It's a thing. So Mehdi is asserting that Matt has made errors that aren't actually errors. The 22 million thing about those tweets being flagged, that was correct. Matt showed that on Twitter afterwards. Mehdi, of course, still hasn't retracted his false claim. And then look at him getting indignant over Matt getting an acronym wrong. He said you added an A. You had an A. But the thing is, as Li Fong pointed out, actually, that group CISA is actually a DHS agency, and it was actually partnered with whatever the other group was.
It is just shameful that it's clear. And this was you said through the Hill?
No,
it was Fox.
Mehdi Hassan has a show on Peacock.
Oh, it's on Peacock.
MSNBC.
Let me just say this. This is just absolutely insane. I mean, what he was targeting him about was so minute. I mean, 20 something anything of false anything can do much more damage, period, right? Let's stick to that one fact, right? If that number what he said, because he agreed that that number was misinformation, but that's the one that they only really flagged 3,000, but there are over these millions of other people. Maybe the 3,000 are influential people, right?
Well, what the guys from the Gray Zone were saying was that, in fact, that the full number that Matt Taibbi reported were flagged.
Yeah. But here's what I'm saying, that even if, like, considering what the context are, right? So it's the 3,000 of what? Of influential tweets of politicians and people with power that was like ridiculous. And they were like, oh, these are the most dangerous ones. And that's what you're saying? Or, because to me, all that entire number is dangerous. Even if the guy with only 100 followers.
So you're saying that the 2
followers.
million or 3,000 is too dangerous even to consider.
Too dangerous.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous to be considered anything less than that. We should take it as serious as anything else. It's a serious number. Both numbers are too big. Both numbers are too big when we're playing with our politics involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And influencing our sensitive and be. Come on.
So I'd like to point out that I think it was Max Blumenthal said it. That really that Matt Taibbi is too much of a straight shooter.
Yeah.
And he's not geared for the scream fest of mainstream media.
No.
So as you can see in the interview already, that Mehdi Hassan, has probably the top equipment, and that for whatever reason, it looked like Matt Taibbi had a decent microphone, but whether it was the internet connection or whatever, I mean, when he would start talking, the connection was catching up with what he was saying. So I mean, and if you watch any of Mehdi Hassan's interviews, I mean, he's constantly interrupting people.
Yes. And this is actual like a political theater tactic. This is theater, right? It's political theater, and it's like, especially if you see it on like Fox, you see it on Fox, especially there, they have this really good strategy to try to, like, with people who are not camera folk, who are not good with being in front of the camera, who are like, Matt is the type of man, he just wants to have a conversation. This man is not.
No, he doesn't even want to have a conversation. He wants to write.
Yeah. Yes, but terms of
he's not
career,
really
like,
a talker.
You could tell, but he's still doing it. He understands why it's important. So I can't take that away from him, because he's an intelligent man and he understands that, he has to do this. This is part of his job. And, the bigger you get, the more you are supposed to be, you're going to be wanted to be seen. Right. But these other guys, they're theater politicians. And because being a political politician, they just know how to anger people. That's all they want to get.
Right.
I mean, this is just falling into this style of aggressiveness and diluting a message just for a clickbait.
Yeah, and the point of where I'm going is to show the types of people that are involved in our public discourse now. And so I would categorize Mehdi Hassan unapologetically as a rat boy. And I would like to, play, another rat boy, which I think that they're cut from the same cloth. The same exact cloth. So
why is it that a bill banning abortions after a woman has been pregnant for 6 weeks is not a return to the Dark Ages? What's your answer?
My answer is something called science. Human life exists at conception. It ought to be protected. Now, back to my question to you. You purport to be an objective journalist. BBC purports to be an objective down-the-middle network. It obviously is not. It never has been. And you, as a journalist, are proceeding to call one side of the political aisle ignorant, barbaric, and sending us back to the Dark Ages. Why don't you just say that you're on the left? Is this so hard for you? Why can't you just be honest?
Mr.
Seriously,
Shapiro,
it's a serious question.
Mr. Shapiro, if you only knew how ridiculous that statement is, you wouldn't have said it. I just asked
Really?
you a question.
and I asked you a question. You failed to answer a single one of mine. Frankly, I find this whole thing a waste of time. If you want to read the book and critique the book, why don't you read and critique the book? If you want to critique me, you can think whatever you want of me.
Why don't you just
frankly,
try and
I don't
answer
care.
the
I don't frankly
questions?
give a damn what you think of me since I've never heard of you.
And I've never heard of you until I briefed myself for this. But that's not the issue. You have a
Then
new
why the hell
book
are you
out,
interviewing
and
me,
it's
sir?
it's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that
Well, it'd be
society...
nice if you would quote it from time to time.
Your book is... Well, actually, I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again, if you would let me just finish the question. Your book
frankly, I don't
claims
think
that
this, you know what?
society
Honestly,
is turning
honestly,
its
sir,
back on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah, this
What are
considering
those values?
considering
what are the values it's turning its back on?
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Well,
much.
thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
Rat boy.
You go so hard on Shapiro.
That is my favorite clip.
Oh my God. Listen,
the man interviewing him, Andrew Neil, is a conservative.
Yeah.
But he's another rat boy. Mehdi Hassan, rat boy.
I don't really know Mehdi Hassan so much. Let me not.
And I'm going to keep doing what they do. I'm not going to let you talk. I'm not going to let you talk.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
Ahead and,
I can.
Go ahead and defend.
I want to speak. Listen, listen. Do you hear, just talking about who I think has a lot of rat tendencies? Tucker Carlson, I believe, on Fox.
He does. He has a little rat boy tendency.
I feel like I think he got a lot of rat boy tendency. Yeah, what made me laugh is you heard about Fox getting sued for the Dominion thing?
I did, and and that is one story that I have not followed. So,
well, the Dominion, I believe it's something, I forgot how much they made, but they won a lawsuit. Fox has to pay them up. And for those who are not too familiar, I'll get a quick summary. Please just go look it up. And if you're probably a mainstream watcher, hopefully you're not. You probably heard already that Dominion had sued Fox for saying that they basically manipulated the voting machines and everything else like that. And that was a big thing because during the 2016 and the last election, they were just saying, "Oh, this is happening, and it was rough. And the credit, it really defamed their machines and their company, and they went swinging back and they won. So sadly, I wasn't even expecting to talk about it, but since we're talking about rat boys, it just brings up when Tucker was talking to his co-workers and saying, oh, in the camera, oh yeah, Trump, and in the background you're secretly saying, I hate this man, I hate this man, this guy gotta go, I can't wait for he leave, he's a monster. But on camera you're so supportive of Trump, and it just makes me realize that I really don't care for Fox. I need them to fall off. I beg of the world to start watching mainstream. I just want it all to burn down to the ground. I need things to just burn now, just like the right things to burn. These liars, these manipulators, and I need the boomers to just let it go. I know y'all fell for it. I know y'all probably are like, hey, this is our thing we grew up with. Let it go. It needs to die.
You're saying figuratively burning to the ground, not actually. Yes. Okay.
No, dude, I don't want lives to be lost.
Yeah.
Well, we live in a time I have to clarify. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know what's great? If the FBI ever showed up to my door, I mean, I'll give them my stuff, everything. I'm like, hey, look, you can look at everything. But I'm gonna ask them one question. I'm like, how far do you think I can get as a black blind man that can't drive? Like, how far do you think I can get?
Well, yeah, I mean, they had that blind, what was it called, a shake, that apparently planned the bombing of the first World Trade Center bombing. He was blind.
Really?
The blind sheikh
Was he? I gotta
in
look.
prison.
I gotta
Yeah.
look this up. I gotta look this up. There's a
Yeah.
blind guy.
Yeah,
that tried to take down a building.
don't depend on your sight impairment.
Bombs are easy to make. Apparently, I didn't like. To me, that's so hard to believe because I'm like, how did he set that up? Like, did y'all just let him go down to your basements? Do you just all let him just randomly for a week drop random book bags near points of entrances? And you were like, oh, blind guy dropped stuff. I mean, did y'all not check? I just can't even fathom how that works. You know
Well,
what
he
I'm
didn't
saying?
do it. I
Did
think
he
he
get?
planned it.
Oh, he planned it. Oh, I can
He
plan
planned
things
it.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, he planned it out. Oh, I can do
Yeah.
that. I
He
can do
probably
that. I
told
don't
him
need sight to plan.
he probably I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I suspect he told the people that Allah sanctioned it. I don't know.
Oh my God, it sounds like a government conspiracy already.
So speaking of religion,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd like to let people know from what cloth Mehdi Hassan is cut. So earlier in his life, he was an Islamic preacher, and
Okay.
I'm not presenting. I'm in no way criticizing the Islamic religion.
You better not.
But I definitely criticize zealot preachers, whether they be Christian or whether they be Muslim or any other religion.
Mhm.
And so I'd like to play these recordings of Mehdi Hassan's preaching.
Where does he come from? He comes from a very weird background where not too long ago he was actually trying to ingratiate himself with religious fundamentalists and bashing many of the concepts that define MSNBC viewers. Here's Mehdi as a hate preacher at a London mosque, attacking non-Muslims.
Islam, to believe is to know.
And he was like at the New Statesman at the time.
That is what it fundamentally comes down to. It is to remain ignorant, to cover up knowledge. After all, what is kafir? Kafir comes from the root word, which means to cover up, to conceal. The kafir is the one who covers up that knowledge which is clear. The French Orientalist scholar Lamens, he once wrote that the Quran is not far from considering unbelief, disbelief as an infirmity, as an illness, as a disease of the human mind. SubhanAllah. Non-Muslims point this out to us.
I mean, he's talking about MSNBC viewers.
The atheists who remain deaf and stubborn to the teachings of Islam, the rational message of the Quran, they are described in the Quran as, quote, a people of no intelligence. Allah describes them. Not of no morality, not of no belief, a people of no intelligence. Because they are incapable of the intellectual effort it requires to shake off those blind prejudices.
He's calling all non-Muslims cattle in a public speech. This is an MSNBC host.
To shake off those easy assumptions about this world, about the existence of God. In this respect, the Quran describes the atheists as cattle. As cattle, as those who go with the crowd, and do not stop and wonder about this world. Ulama unanimously agree.
That's him, the same guy who chewed out Matt Taibbi. This is him.
That at the very minimum, if Yazid was not a kafir, then at the
Yazid is like the evil satanic figure of Shia Islam.
minimum, he was a fasir, a transgressor, a breaker of Islamic laws, a corrupt individual, a tyrant, a killer, a drunkard, a dog lover, a music lover, a homosexual, a pedophile, a sexual deviant, someone who slept with his own mother.
Let's hear that again.
Unanimously agree that at the very minimum, if Yazid was not a kafir, then at the very minimum, he was a fasir, a transgressor, a breaker of Islamic laws, a corrupt individual, a tyrant, a killer, a drunkard, a dog lover.
Wait a minute. MSNBC watchers love dogs. Mehdi is saying that Satan is a dog lover. And if you're a dog lover, you're satanic. I mean, they love walking their golden retrievers around to their dog parks and stuff.
A music lover.
Wait, Satan's a music lover. What's wrong with music, Mehdi? I guess Mehdi doesn't like put his iPods in and listen to some like Coldplay or something before he's like gonna dress down Taibbi.
A homosexual.
Whoa, a homosexual? Satan is homosexuality satanic?
Pedophile. A sexual deviant. Someone who slept with his own mother. Astaghfirullah. These are their views.
Astaghfirullah, he slept with his own mother. Oh, how do you go from that to being like one of the favorite figures on MSNBC Peacock for like Blue Anon golden retriever dog walkers and people who have like the LGBT flag on their homes? Like, how do you do that unless you were like the most aggressive, shameless opportunist on the planet? And I should note, Mehdi did apologize for saying homosexuality is satanic on his lobbying campaign to be an MSNBC host, but he never apologized for saying loving dogs is satanic or that loving music is satanic. I mean, if you love John Coltrane, you are a Satan worshiper, according to that speech. I think he should apologize to music lovers.
And then after that, there's that time when he gets caught writing this cover letter to the Daily Mail, this right-wing rag in the UK, begging for a columnist job, where he talks about how much he loves their, he offers to criticize the left from the left.
Well,
Interesting
I don't have a
fellow.
dog. Good thing I don't have a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to hell. You're going to hell, Pastor. You dog-loving, feeding, take them to the vet when they're music-loving, Satan worshiper. How dare you take a dog to the vet to get medication to stay alive? You horrible white man.
So this is this is the point of presenting all this. Is that these are the kind of people that the so-called liberal class keeps belching up to further go down the authoritarianism rabbit hole.
Yeah, because these men and women are just representative for the people who who identify as liberal, but they feel like, it's like with movies, people got to see themselves in the characters, so they pick these characters that are real life people, but they still have to play a role, and this guy is just playing a role for Muslims, and because he looks like somebody and he's a good-looking man
Muslims,
to some.
I mean, there's probably a lot of white liberals that are just tantalized that there's a Muslim man reading, or running a real journalist over the coals.
Yeah, that too. But I'm saying why this man even got his position. These people so even when I see black people as liberals, I'm like, okay, what character you're about to play? It never matches up, because I'm like, nothing you're saying sounds for me. Who is that for? So, so it's just these characters, and it's like, it's just the way it is. This is all he was. He's not relevant. He's only relevant for people who subscribe to this platform. And last time I checked, Peacock ain't doing that well for him to be that much of a big deal.
So the name of this episode, Mo, is called Bottom Feeding Bootlicking Sludge.
Oh goodness.
And
say that sludge to a slut.
Sludge.
Oh, I know what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. That's what it's going to be in my head.
And that's what the so-called liberal class keeps coughing up. Now, when Li Fong, another journalist of of great talent, great skill, took Mehdi Hassan's interview with Matt Taibbi to task, and wrote a piece showing where Hassan was wrong, Hassan came back and accused him of being anti-Muslim. And if people would like to look up the work of Li Fong, you can now follow him on Substack.
I gotta look into Substack. Apparently, they're having some. Substack is apparently having some big problems as well. Apparently, there's interviews with the creator or CEO. I don't know who the gentleman is, but it's some racist materials were showing up. So I can't wait to bring that to
Well, yeah,
everybody on the show next
of
week.
course they were.
Yeah.
Substack allows people to publish uncensored.
Okay,
And
that's what it is. I've never been to the site yet.
yeah, and so certain people that have been on different platforms, or say I'm on Substack now, that at some point their expectation is that Substack will be smeared, taken down, accused of not having integrity. Then it will collapse, and these independent journalists will go then to the next platform that will allow them to publish.
So if you always going to the box or through the door that everybody else is going through, you're missing out on opportunities and ideas and different. So what they push out is not always right. We know this. Mainstream is a theater. They're going to say the thing that goes against to make you go against what their propaganda is. We understand that. And we're increasing in numbers. Our ideas, me and you, Pastor, and we have different ideas, but the way we think and see about the world, we're increasing in numbers, not them. They're losing numbers.
Amen.
This is why they're doing what they're doing. They're losing.
You have a point there. And
they're losing.
You did send me that story from Breaking Points today about the increase in people who identify as independents.
Up to 43% increase.
49%.
49, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful numbers.
So
in which we just had a conversation about this a few days ago. And I thought it was just fake that I just saw this Breaking Point clip, and I was like, you know what? That's perfect, right? It is perfect that, because you felt like that it, the independent ideas wasn't going to get noticed, and people are noticing and looking for alternative parties and looking for alternative ideas, regardless of being more left or right. And I keep pointing this out, and there's going to be people that listen to the show and be like, "You're against America." I am not against America.
No, I want America.
What we are is that we're brothers and sisters, regardless of color or skin or anything else like that. I am an American. I'm not an African American. I am American. I am Native. No, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going to continue this false narrative that we are just going to remain divided the way they want us to be divided. I am not remaining divided anymore with my own brothers and sisters for a bunch of billionaires. Are you crazy? I'm not going to hate you for your color because of a billionaire wants to push something on us. We're all in the same boat now. Yeah. So if you can't accept we're all in the same team now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I am not supporting anybody that will try to take down an app where I have seen the most curious people of all colors and shapes on an app, TikTok, for example, and say, you know what, we don't deserve to have our voices met. We don't deserve. I did not see any of the protests with Paris. We're in France right now, in Paris, on our mainstream media, but I've seen on TikTok, I see people right there in their country explaining what's happening, saying it's not about retirement. It's about the fact that we are our money's being taken away. They want us to work these jobs from low wages and enslave us, and police brutality is at an all-time high, and they're threatening us for our lives. This is happening right there in Paris, and you're telling me that to just get rid of an app where this is the only source of news where people from another country can say, yo, we're suffering?
Yeah. Well,
and we need help.
Imagine how astounded I've been right through my life that to see like what my generation has seen. Like my generation has both seen no internet and internet.
Mm-hmm.
The internet comes. the World Wide Web. This is going to connect everybody. And I'm like, we're gonna be able to see, like, I mean, I like the news, we're
Yes.
gonna be able to see what's going on in other countries and this and that. And we'll be able to talk to people from other countries a lot easier. And now I think, I mean, with cable TV, I mean, there were some cable TV outlets that used to carry like the Canadian broadcasting system.
Yeah.
It almost seems like information from around the world was more accessible before the internet took off, or while the internet was taking off. Because nobody knew better. Let people look up what they want to look up. Now everything is just so locked down and propagandized. We have no idea what's going on in Russia. We have no idea what's going on in Ukraine. I mean, you're saying that the only thing that, I mean, I've seen those scenes on Twitter, from France.
Yeah.
I mean, the French are tearing that place down.
They are tearing it down.
And
they've been at protest for weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Our country's so big, we can't get together and even peacefully protest to make a difference.
I mean, it's funny because just this week we literally had hundreds, and I have to do the research because I just recently found out myself. So I hope to come back next week with some more information for you guys. But in Chicago, I believe there was 2 protests, massive, with youth involved. Youth protesting all over the country is happening. You are not seeing that. You are not seeing that on mainstream.
Got to stay on top of things like that.
And you know what's crazy, because there was because a social post happened, and there was a shooting involved. When these protests is happening and bullets are shooting, it's usually not. It's 99% of the time not the protesters. It is somebody from the outside. And if somebody was shooting, they were shooting because they wanted to create more chaos. And because there's so many guns in this country, peaceful protesting is near damn well impossible. A bullet can go off. It's the protesters' fault. It's not an investigation.
Chaos.
Yeah, there's no investigation.
Whether
bullet goes off,
by
and you
the
could
government or not.
Exactly. So we having these things happen all over the country. People are standing up. When those Tennessee happened last week, we see it happening. They are getting silenced, and when they go straight into talk about politics. They're not talking about. They don't give a damn. The Tennessee thing was overshadowed. The poor kids are protesting, and they're saying we can't deal with. We don't want no more school shootings anymore. And you know what the mainstream media said? Went through and did. Watched right over it and went straight to the black politicians. The new Martin Luther. I don't care about that. What I care about is that our children are screaming. Again, white, black, Spanish, Asian, screaming, we don't want this.
Yeah, like
we don't need
the
guns.
mainstream media can proclaim somebody the new Martin Luther King.
Oh, yeah.
But
they'll try.
But they're completely inept to make that proclamation, because if there was another Martin Luther King, they wouldn't let him on the air.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Well, let's go on to the last part of this segment, and then we'll go to call the show, because I think we're going to be over an hour anyway.
Yes, let's go. I got a barbecue to go to.
So, continuing on this theme of bottom-feeding, boot-licking sludge, I would like to bring our attention to the representative from the Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett, and I'm going to play. This is the beginning of a show of Glenn Greenwald's show, System Update, and the partial title is "Authoritarian Congresswoman," in quotes, threatens Matt Taibbi with jail over the Twitter files.
Tonight, a Democratic member of Congress explicitly threatens a journalist with prosecution in prison after he revealed secret actions by the U.S. security state that she, the member of Congress, supports. Stacey Plaskett, who pretends to be a Democratic congresswoman from the Virgin Islands, but in reality is nothing more than an unvoting delegate, wrote a letter to the journalist Matt Taibbi today explicitly threatening him with prison for allegedly making false statements to Congress when he testified on March 9th before the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government about the Twitter files. That reporting, as you recall, revealed the role played by the intelligence community and other parts of the U.S. government in censoring vast amounts of online speech posted by American citizens. It's easy to dismiss these threats from her as the act of a small-minded, impotent government functionary desperate for social media applause and with an obvious petty tyrant complex, and all of that is clearly true. But the mindset displayed by the adored on Twitter Stacey Plaskett, as blatantly repressive as it is, has become the defining mindset of her party and the liberal political faction which cheers her, and for that reason deserves more attention than it or she otherwise would merit.
So let me just first start off by saying that the fact that she sent that letter as a non-voting member of Congress says to me the great cowardice of the Democrats in Congress that wanted that letter sent. And that by no means would I want the delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands dictating policy for the contiguous 48 states of the United States, or the 50 states of the United States. Who the heck is she to try to put an American journalist in jail?
We got our first female rat.
Now, she's an American. She's an American, and I'd like you to hear about her.
It's important to highlight here that Taibbi's reporting was accurate, even in the trivial ways they tried to attack. And the reason it's so important is because earlier today, a letter surfaced, which was dated April 13th, so last week, written apparently, and it's from Stacey Plaskett, who likes to pretend she's a member of Congress. She sits on committees in Congress. She was one of the impeachment managers for Donald Trump's second impeachment trial. She became very popular on social media among liberals. She's a black woman who loves melodramatic liberal gestures about Donald Trump, and so she attracted a lot of attention. She represents the Virgin Islands, even though she was born in New York. She wasn't born in the Virgin Islands. She didn't grow up in the Virgin Islands. She went to the boarding school Choate, which is one of the most expensive boarding schools in the country. She spent a year abroad in France where she was educated. She went to Georgetown Law School, and she worked in and out of Washington firms and for members of Congress. And then she goes to the Virgin Islands backed by huge amounts of corporate cash and gets elected to represent the people of the Virgin Islands who are faced with all kinds of material deprivations. But she doesn't care at all about the people of the Virgin Islands. Why would she? She's never lived there. She barely has any connection to the island. So she spends all of her time in things like Trump impeachment and every Russiagate. She was a fanatical Russiagator. Anything that gets her social media attention. That's what she really wants to be. And the people of the Virgin Islands continue to suffer with no real representative. The Virgin Islands, of course, is not a state. They don't have members of Congress, but they give them delegates who are supposed to represent their interest. Even though she can't vote on the House floor, she votes in committee, but she's not a real member of Congress. She's a fake member of Congress. She's a delegate. And yet, today she wrote a letter to Matt Taibbi, who's a journalist, threatening him with prison based on this MSNBC segment that itself has been debunked. So let me show you what this letter says, because for all the talk about how Donald Trump was this grave threat to a free press, every time he would insult Jim Acosta or Wolf Blitzer or Chuck Todd, they would have op-eds in the New York Times and the Washington Post and cable segments, emergency cable segments convened. He never got close, Donald Trump, to any sort of threat to press freedom, like what Stacey Plaskett is doing here. Here's what she wrote, quote, "On March 9th, immediately before your appearance before the subcommittee, you released an additional installment of the so-called Twitter files on your personal Twitter account. As part of that installment, you allege that the Election Integrity Partnership, EIP, worked with. Now, if there's anything more despotic than a member of Congress very explicitly threatening a journalist with 5 years imprisonment and prosecution over what she claims is a mistaken acronym based on an MSNBC segment that she uncritically ingested and has no idea was debunked, I'd like to know what it is. Tell me, anyone, what Donald Trump did that even got in the same universe as threatening press freedoms, than writing a letter to a journalist, threatening them with prison based on this incredibly trivial allegation that you've made that he made a mistake in doing.
Mm, 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 First of all, not only do we got a nice rat, we got a black rat. Okay. So nothing she says matters. Okay. If you can't even take care of your district, shut up. You know, and her actions just shows me that she's a political theater student. Period. You know, she's trying to become
I just wonder how she got elected.
No, because
You know.
she probably, I don't even know what she looks like. She's probably just right enough to be considered the next Obama or Kamala Harris. And she saw she's seen these other black women look so beautiful and be in the stars in the starlight. And I love politics.
There, that's what she looks like.
That's what she looks like. Look, fit right in there. I love politics. I straighten my hair. I can. I am just friendly to white people. Okay, to liberal white people because I can be the next token black woman. That's all I want to be. It doesn't matter if I have an actual resume of like helping people in the Virgin Islands eat. That doesn't matter. They don't need help and support. I mean, I've experienced probably poverty myself and challenges myself, and I see my people struggling. I mean, going to a district where, as a black person, I could actually make a difference. No, 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 no. I don't want that. I want to be where the big boys are at. Stay your lane, woman. Stay in your freaking lane. Where you don't. No. The hell are you talking about?
This is my point. This is what this so-called liberal class is. It keeps coughing and belching up, bottom feeding, boot licking sludge.
Bunch of tokens.
And there's just a lot of people out there that are willing to toe a line to get somewhere. And I mean, this is having real effects on everybody's free speech. It's having real effects on freedom of the press. It's having real effects on freedom of assembly.
Yes.
And I acknowledge the ills of society. I acknowledge racism. I acknowledge homophobia. I acknowledge transphobia.
Yes.
And things have to be done about it, but that not at the expense of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of the press.
No.
This is what this country was founded on.
No. Not at all. We don't want that. They should be, it's just about them making you angry. It's just about them making me that way. And now I'm just getting angry at the disrespect, because what it coming down now is that they're saying we're idiots. You American people are idiots, and we're gonna keep making you angry and trigger until you're the ends of time. And while we make you angry, we'll make our millions.
And
we'll fight.
Yeah,
we'll get rich, and you'll be mad. But you'll be mad at a color.
Did I cut you off?
No, I'm just saying they just want us to be mad at two colors, blue and red, and not them. That's it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting at this point. And if you're watching our show, you know that at the end of the day, we just care. We show both sides are looking crazy. Both sides. Mm-hmm. So what are we gonna do about it? We're gonna let them keep calling us idiots to our face? Because that's all I hear when they speak.
They treat us like idiots. And this is my final point of the evening.
Yes.
Why is this important to me? It's important to me right now because I followed Matt Taibbi for many years. And I know him to be a journalist of integrity. I've listened to his stories about when he was growing up and his dad was a journalist, and he used to come home, he used to eat dinner, then he used to go into his study, and he used to get on the phone and go through the Rolodex and just call people. He'd call the mayor, he'd call this official, that official. How are things
Yeah.
going? How's the family? And he kept
Yeah.
these lines of communications open with these people, and sometimes people would tip him off to a story.
Yeah.
He watched his dad do it, and he wanted to be a journalist.
Wow.
He wanted his shoes on the ground, and he wanted to be a journalist. And he conducts himself as a traditional journalist like his dad. Integrity is very important to him. I've heard him say that he's the guy that lies awake wondering if he put the comma in the wrong place, let alone make a factual mistake in one of his pieces. This is a guy that has a family of his own that they're threatening to put in prison for 5 years for mistakes that journalists make all the time. That's why it's important, because an average American who is pursuing his dream, is pursuing a career that he saw his dad pursuing and wanting to do it with integrity. And because his integrity conflicts with the narratives that the U.S. government wants the general public to hear, they're threatening to put him in prison. And as much as the Democratic Party is worried about the Russians, and some Republicans are worried about the Russians, they continually act like Soviets. I'm not willing to give up my rights, and I hope that we can come together across the political spectrum, across races, across ethnicities, across sexualities, across genders, and say this is enough of this.
Yes.
We keep saying that you're defending democracy and free society, but the people in power are doing everything but creating a free democratic society.
Ain't nothing democratic about this stuff anymore.
No.
Ain't nothing about it. They keep pushing this narrative of murder. I see more lives being taken, and and then when people are actually stepping up to stop this crap from happening, they keep pushing harder against it. And you know what? Nothing is going to happen to Matt. You know why? Because we, the American people, are awake now. Now, y'all was see when woke was first originated in my culture, my community, it was about being spiritually awoken. It was about coming to your awakening, seeing the world for what it is, not for where you grew up at what's your your family's political party. It was not about how much money you grew up with. It's understanding that it was about getting closer to your spirit and paying attention about your spiritual growth, and then strengthening your intelligence and becoming wiser and making decisions that benefited your community and your loved ones. That's the basics. Only small details of what woke is. It's not what they're talking about on mainstream. Do not listen to them when you hear that word woke. That's not what that means. Do not take something my culture does, they do it all the time. Every time the Black community comes up with a word or something, it becomes, they destroy it and make it turn into a weapon. I need white men and women to really listen to me. It is not. Think about woke as opening up your Bible and praying to God, fasting, going to your community and supporting what each other. That's what woke is. It's about taking your individuality and understanding that we have to grow and become, instead of being selfish, we become aware. And we proceed to build our communities and build each other up. And that does include other cultures as well. It includes the entire community without taking blame on ourselves. Understanding we have challenges and overcoming those challenges. That is what being woke means. So I really want white people to understand that's what it really means. It's not about taking from you. It's not about attacking you. It's not about harming you or anything. It is just about coming closer mainly to yourself and to a higher power.
Amen.
Don't listen to the mainstream. They don't know what they're talking about.
Amen. So we end this episode the same way every time, with a prayer. So let us pray.
Yes.
Father God, we come boldly before your throne as your word tells us to, and that God, that I appeal to you for protection for people like Matt Taibbi, protection for the Black socialists that have just been arrested. I ask that you protect people who are trying to do the right thing. I ask that you protect those that do have integrity and find it in conflict with what the mainstream wants us to hear and do. So, God, we know that you have the last say on everything. And that, God, I ask that you empower people to do the right thing and to speak up and to come together in peace and to make this world a better place. That, God, I lay down our anxieties, I lay down our anger, I lay down our frustration, and that, God, we present it as a sacrifice to you, and that, God, we ask in exchange that you give us enlightenment and you guide our steps. But Father God, I ask that you bless everybody that's listening today, and I pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Good night.
We'll see y'all later. I don't know why I did this. Bye.